Hello, welcome back to What Cat Reads. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. It is July 31st and time to start turning my attention to what I'm going to read during the month of August. I do have some book club picks to read. I also have a readathon going on this month, and then a couple books from July that I did not finish that I still want to read. So let's get started. One of the books that I did not read in July that I'm still wanting to read is The Shadow House. This was for the Pyramid Book Club, and I'll leave a link below. I can't remember who hosts this one. But in this, we are following Alex, who's a single mom. She lives in she's moved into a house trying to escape her past, and finds that there are hidden secrets in this house. I didn't want to read too much into it or watch the book club discussion that they did because I didn't want to know too much about the book before going in. I have found for myself with thrillers and mystery, that's the best thing for me. So The Shadow House by Anna Downs is one that I am looking forward to actually reading in August. Another book that I've had on my TBR several times this year is Hamnet. This is by Maggie O'Farrell. This is the story of Shakespeare's son, and we kind of get a little backstory into a person that we don't hear a lot about. So if you want to know more on this one, I did just talk about it in July's TBR. So feel free to hop back and check that one out. As far as book club picks for some of the book clubs going on in August, the Pyramid Book Club is doing Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I have no idea what this one is about, so give me just a second. So Upgrade is another thriller. This one follows a character named Logan Ramsey. He has somehow gotten a evolutionary upgrade. He feels a little bit different. He's able to concentrate better at multitasking, reading a bit faster, memorizing better, needing less sleep. And then he really starts to notice that his brain chemistry is changing. And he is seeing everything in a whole new way. And that's all I'm really gonna look into that one, because again, it's a thriller, and I do a lot better with thrillers when I go in completely blind. Another one that I am looking at reading with book clubs is the Late Night Cruise Book Club, and they are reading Netherland Bone by, of course I didn't put my notes. Hold on just a minute. So Netherland Bone is by T. Kingfisher, and she writes fantasy, horror, and some other oddities according to Kindle books. This one is It's like a fairy tale retelling, but not quite. Here's what Kindle says. This isn't the kind of fairy tale where the princess marries a prince. It is the one where she kills him. Mara never wanted to be a hero. As the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, she escaped the traditional fate of princesses to be married away for the sake of an uncaring throne. But her sister isn't so fortunate, and after years of silence, Mara is done watching her suffer at the hands of a powerful and abusive prince. Seeking help for her rescue mission, Mara is offered the tools she needs, but only if she can complete 3 seemingly impossible tasks. Build a dog of bones, sew a cloak of nettle, capture moonlight in a jar. But, as in the way of tales of princes and witches, doing the impossible is just the beginning. Hero or not, now joined by a disgraced ex-knight, a reluctant fairy godmother, an enigmatic grave witch, and her foul familiar, Mara might finally have the courage to save her sister and topple a throne. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for this one. A lot of kind of thwarting the traditional tropes. So I'm looking forward to this one, and hopefully we'll all have a good time. I probably won't read this one until the end of the month, since the Late Night Crew doesn't really do a let's talk about the book. It's more of a let's read the book together and just talk about how we feel, whether they're liking it or not type. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then the next one for book clubs is for the Cliterature Book Club. And in August, we're looking at reading The Fine Print. The Fine Print is by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in her Dreamland Billionaires series. And this one's following Rowan, he's a businessman who creates some of these theme parks in the book. And he is working on one called Dreamland and hires Zahara, who is very critical over Dreamland and its one of its rides, in the most expensive ride it has. And she gets hired despite this. And her whole she doesn't like working for Rowan. She calls him the most difficult boss she's ever worked for. And so we kind of have this dynamic between the two. It should lead to a really good romance trope in this book. For my 2022 reading goals, I really wanted to finish some series that I had in progress, and one of those series has been Firefly. This is a Joss Whedon sci-fi meets Western show. It is how it began. It then moved to a movie and some comics, and now has some novels. The next one that I need to read is Generations. In this one, Mal wins a map in a card game, and this map is covered in mysterious symbols. And when River looks at it, she claims that the map points them to some of the arcs. These were the ships that were used to take people from the Earth that was our current day Earth into the outer rims, finding new places to live. And these arcs can be, they're just promise salvage for Mal and his crew. But as the crew approaches these arcs, River starts acting very strangely, as River tends to do. This also, I believe, I'm just trying to double check. It doesn't say. Okay, so most of these books have taken place between the end of season 1, the only season, unfortunately, and the and the movie Serenity. And so, yeah, this one is too. It's on the back. Sorry. So this takes place between the end of Firefly and the movie Serenity. I have had so much fun reading these, and I'm looking forward to continuing this series. And now we come to my readathon that I'm looking forward to doing this month, and that's G from Book Roast's magical readathon, focused on the world of Aurelium. This is a readathon that she has created along with the world to replace her old one that she did based off of the Harry Potter world. And so she just created her own universe and continues on this readathon. I love G's readathons because they really push me into areas that I may not have thought of right away. My April reading, though, was not that great, and that's when we did our spring equinox for this readathon, and you had to pick a calling, and then through that you had certain prompts you had to fill in the spring that then you would do follow-ups continuing your classes in the fall. Now that we're in the autumn equinox, I looked back and I did not do so well meeting my or reading into those prompts. And so the only calling that I can do is Herbology. And that's completely fine. It's not normally my first pick. I normally go for like healer or Beastmaster, something, kind of along those lines. But Herbology works as well. And for that, I have to get a D, which is distinguished, for Alchemy and Restoration. And for those, each letter has its own reading prompt. So for Alchemy, to get Outstanding, the O, I need someone's worst read that I think I will like. And I can't remember who it was, but I have seen a lot of comments on YouTube and in Instagram about Grady Hendrix' Final Girl support group kind of falling flat. I have only read one of his books, and that was The Southern... Sorry, I always forget that title. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. So this one, is kind of a support group is created from these girls who survive these horrific events, and they're the last girls standing. Chainsaws to summer camp slayers. This one pays tribute to many of those horror movies that some of us grew up on. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Nightmare on Elm Street, and Scream are three that are mentioned on the back. So these are girls who have survived some sort of massacre. And for more than a decade, our main character, Lynette, has been meeting with 5 other girls and their therapist in a support group for those who endured the unthinkable, working to put their lives back together. Then, one woman misses a meeting, and Lynette's worst fears are realized. Someone knows about the group and is determined to rip their lives apart again, piece by piece. And so this is, just kind of I'm hoping will be a fun horror. I really did enjoy the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, but I don't know so much if that was because many of the places in it were recognizable to me. Living in Charleston, the book takes place in Mount Pleasant. So this one, we'll see if it's Grady Hendrix or if it was just the setting that I enjoyed when I compared these two. The next prompt is an orange book. Oops, I forgot to pull that one out of my TBR cart. And this one is to get that distinguished marking. And I'm going to pick The Cat Who Saved Books. This one, as soon as I saw orange book, this was the book I thought of. There is a lot of orange on it. This one is by Soki Natsukawa. I know I butchered that. I'm not even going to say probably. This one follows awkward high school student Rintaro, who's about to close a secondhand bookshop he inherited from his grandfather. He's a bookworm by blood, so shutting down the bookstore is no easy task for him. It's been his sanctuary and hideout from the demands of school and the world at large. However, before the bookshop's doors are shut for good, a talking cat appears with an unusual request. The feline requests the teenager's help in saving books from abusive and negligent owners, and it won't take no for an answer. And so as book lovers, I think that this will be a great read. And just kind of that, sharing that love of books. So for restoration, to get a outstanding, I need to read a book with a single object on the cover. And for that, I'm going to read Crush. If you watched my July TBR, you know that was one of the books that I was thinking about reading with my sister as kind of a buddy read. We'll see if we decide to buddy read it or if I just continue on. So in Crush, this is the follow-up to Crave by Tracy Wolff. In Crave, we meet Grace, who joins an academy where her uncle is the principal of because her parents have passed away in an accident. Crush picks up a few months after the events in Crave, and due to events that happened in Crave, she does not remember. In Crave, yes. Getting mixed up now on these C books. Grace does not remember the events that happened in the first book, and so kind of has this amnesia. And I'm looking forward to this one a little more than the first one, especially after hearing from many readers of how much better Crush is. But so she just needs to know in this book what happened and to kind of piece her life back together. I am excited to read this one, like I said, and we'll see how it goes. The final book I need for the Aurelium Readathon is The Distinguished for Restoration, and this is the oldest book on my TBR, or an older book on my TBR. And for me, that's November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I have actually started this book once before and got 34 pages in and just set it to the side for some reason or another. And so I am looking forward to finishing this one. This one follows Fallon and Ben. They meet on the day that she is scheduled to move cross country. And there's an instant attraction there between the two of them. And they decide to spend that day together. After that day ends, they decide to continue meeting every year on November 9th. And things happen through this where Fallon starts to begin to question the things that Ben is telling her about his life. So, I am looking forward to reading this. Colleen Hoover is kind of one of those favorite authors that I really like. So, there you have it. That's, let's see if I can grab them all. There are all the physical books that I'm looking forward to reading this month, along with 3 ebooks for sure, and the only book that I'm not sure if I'm going to get to read during August will be Upgrade. That is a new book, and I am on the wait list for my library to borrow the audio or the digital copy of it. So what are you looking forward to reading during August? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you soon.